Okay, my bad. Hold on one second. Okay, so first, welcome to Nosy Bystanders Live. I'm your host, Chief Nosy Bystander. Um, Before we get into the Rasheem Carter case, I wanted to get into a little bit of the Shanquella Robinson case that I kind of overlooked that I missed, and I want to go cover it. Okay. But before we do, I went through the comments. Now, a number of you had said she don't read the comments, so there's no point in commenting. I do read the comments. I just don't harp on the comments. Okay, so let me just correct that. I read the comments. I read them. I just I don't put my emotional labor into the comment section unless it's somebody giving me a tip or somebody referencing something that we may have all overlooked or something like that, or somebody giving their theory or their assumptions. The second thing that I wanted to say is that yesterday, so there was a lot of critique like, Steph, we're not allowed to give our opinions. We can't have opinions. You can have opinions. You can have emotions. They just don't exist here. What does exist here that you guys do really, really well and you guys really, really thrive at is your ability to create theory, not conspiracy theory, just simple theory, as well as your assertions of the evidence overall. So when you say, based off of this, this is what I think, you can do that. When you say, based off of this thing that we saw or read or watched, here's what I'm concluding. You can do that. What you can't do here, you can do it anywhere else. I don't give a fuck. You can do it anywhere else except here. What you can't do is say, well, I just feel like this person and I just feel like that person and my feelings and I wouldn't have did. We don't care about that here. There's a lot of that going on across the internet where everybody's just wheeling and dealing their emotions. And then the story gets lost and everybody's talking about what they would have did as a mother, what they would have did as a cousin, what they would have did as a good Samaritan, what they would have did as an astronaut, what they would have did as a nurse, what they would have did. And it negates the full story. So what we do here is try to put our feelings to the side so we can focus on the evidence as is. And then we say, well, based off this evidence, this is kind of what I think. Or based off this evidence, this is the only thing that you can conclude, because what else could it be? Those assumptions you can have. What we're trying to do is keep it simple and take out our emotions. Because when you connect your emotions to a story, what happens is a number of things that I'm trying to prevent you guys from falling into. So what happens is you get emotionally wrapped into a case, so it becomes an obsession, which you don't want. But I've seen it happen. It happens all the time. The second thing that occurs is you're wheeling and dealing your emotions, so you have an inability to read evidence because you're basing everything on how you feel. The world doesn't revolve around you. It doesn't revolve around me either. So I can't go through life using my emotions to make decisions. That is the worst way to live. If you're using all of your emotions to make decisions. Like, I really, really feel like, this person is mean to me, but they're actually really nice. They just have a certain disposition about themselves. And so they just don't act on emotion. So you could end up losing friendships, losing relationships because you're using your emotions. There's nothing wrong with using your emotions in connection with your husband or your kids or your wife or your partner or your spouse or whatever, right? When it comes to how you protect them. But your emotions have no basis when it comes to anecdotal evidence. It doesn't. So that is what I'm trying to convey. So I say it so much, sometimes it comes out as an attitude. But that's my fault. And that I apologize for that, for being so curt about it. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is not all of you, because most of you in here don't act like that, but for the newcomers, for the new people, try to just for a second, when you enter into the Nosy Bystanders Live, just put your emotions to the side and read the evidence as we give it to you. And then tell me what you think. You'd be like, you know what, Steph, based off of this, I don't know how this person was even convicted of this crime. They weren't even there. You understand what I mean? But don't say, well, he looks mean, so he looks like a murderer. Oh my God, that's somebody's life you're talking about. So try to take your emotions out of it just for a quick second, just so you can read the evidence as is. Because the problem here in America, and it happens in a lot of countries, but we're just going to focus here in America, we are susceptible to propaganda and misinformation. So me, as a person who lives within the realm of information, I do my best to try to relay that to you guys. Like, no, this is not real. This is real. This is fake. This is real. This is misinformation. This is factual. So I'm trying to give you that. And then once you have all the evidence, right? Once the story is done, whatever story we work on, when it's done, you're more than welcome to be as emotionally invested in it as you can, because now you have all the facts. Does that make sense, right? If you know the full story of the Murdaugh case, you can implement your emotions because the case is closed. The story's done. They got the murderer. He murdered his son and his wife. You can feel emotionally connected to that story because now you have all the pieces. But if that Murdaugh case and it turns out he was innocent, or if there was a lot of speculation on whether he was innocent or not, try to leave your emotions until after the conclusion, right? Okay, so the portion of this story that I missed, that somebody had asked me yesterday, and I saw your comment today. I'm sorry I didn't see it yesterday. Somebody asked, can you read the autopsy report? I said no, because I said it's riddled with medical terms that I don't know, but I read it anyway. I did my best. I searched up words that I didn't understand. Now, there's a portion of her autopsy that I thought was interesting. And here it says visible external injuries. Let me blow up my screen. It says physical external injuries. The first one was friction burns and superficial friction burns on her left ankle. So when I saw that, the only way you're going to get friction burns and superficial friction burns is if somebody dragged you. I had to look it up because I didn't know. I'm not a medical professional. So I had to look that up, and I said, yeah, they dragged her. So they dragged her during the altercation and not after. So let me explain to you what, in my head, based off this evidence, what I'm assuming happened to Shanquella. So in the midst of the fight, not the recorded one, because I believe, okay, this is not my opinion, this is just based off just fact, that there are more videos. I do believe that. I do believe there's more. I believe, and I don't know if there's more assailants. I just know that I'm gonna just go with it's Dejanay, and she's the full culprit. If they all watched and stood around like looky-loos, they should be convicted of that. But when it comes to assailants, it's just her. I think she dragged her. So when if Shanquella was knocked out, like as she was when the doctor got to the villa, it would have been, the drag marks would have been on her calves, the back of her calves, and her heel, and maybe her thighs and her butt, or it would have been on the front of her thighs and the top of her foot if she was dragged from her stomach or if she was dragged from her butt. But having friction marks on your side, nobody would drag you if you're unconscious. Nobody's going to drag you on your side. But if you're in an altercation and you turn sideways to put yourself in a fetal position and someone drags you, then that would cause friction marks on your ankle. So she definitely got that friction burn on her ankle because she was probably in a fetal position and somebody was dragging her. Does that make sense? So I think, I think it was when they were fighting. I think if she was going to get friction marks, it should have been on the back of her legs or the front of her legs, not the side. The side, to me, indicates that she was still very much in the middle of an altercation when she got those friction burns on her ankle. And right here, if you can see it, this is where the friction burn is. This is where the physician said it was at. It was on her left-hand side on her ankle. So she was definitely dragged in that fight. This from Mrs. Carter said she was afraid it was more of them against her. Yeah. Or she was just afraid of Dejanay. Dejanay was twice her size. You know what I mean? Yeah, that too. Or her legs kicking back. That's right. Now, here's the thing, because I've been thinking about that too. And we're going to get to the Rasheem Carter story, but I really want to focus on Shanquella Robinson right now. So remember, the fight was in let's start from the beginning, because this is how I'm going to create one of my hypotheses. So everyone had noticed that Shanquella looked like she was out of it in that video. The video was also shot in a villa with the sun coming in. The police officer said it was anywhere between 7 and 8:30 a.m. because that's when the sun comes in. And that was also corroborated by a maid or an attendant in this report here. This report right here. And a maid or an attendant said the same thing. They said, "Oh, that's the villa. And I hate cleaning it. And the owner hated how much sunlight came in there. So we boarded up half of it. But that's room number 1 or 3. So in the villa that they had, there was only 2 rooms that looked out over the waterfront balcony. Room 1 was Dejanay's. Room 3 was mystery person, because they never stated who stayed in bedroom number 3. So Dejanay got the master bedroom. That is in this report. She was the main guest. It would make sense she would get the main room. So when you say, Mrs. Carter, did they drag her out of bed? That is my question. Now, just based off the evidence, based off of how they treated her, without knowing how much Shanquella put into the villa, where she would have tried to secure the second biggest room, because you could put more into the villa and be like, I want the second biggest room, right? We don't know that. But based off of the report here, it doesn't seem like they liked her very much. And it also seems like she would not get the second best room in the house, right? If it came down to it, if they all paid an equal share and they were all picking their rooms, it doesn't seem as though Shanquella got the second best room. Now, here's the thing. If Shanquella looked like she looked like she had just woke up when that altercation occurred, because it's between 7 and 8:30 in the morning, right? If that were the time frame and she looked like she had gotten out of bed, could we hypothesize that Shanquella accidentally fell asleep in someone's room and they woke up looking to pick a fight with her, right? Because that's what it's starting to feel like. It looks like she had just woke up. Because if we can't say they dragged her out of the bed, if that was the master bedroom, that wasn't Shanquella's room. It wasn't her room. The report says it wasn't her room. So if that was the master bedroom and Shanquella got dragged out of the bed, the question we have to ask is, what was she doing in that bedroom if that wasn't her room? Was she too drunk and that's where she ended up sleeping? You understand? So if she did get dragged out of bed, but the report says that she didn't get the master bedroom, the question is, what was she doing nude in one of 2 of the biggest rooms in the house? That's the question. Somebody said, so did she just walk in her room naked? That's the $1 million question. This from Stacy C says, I thought she was sharp. She was not. That was another lie by the North Carolina Beats that he was peddling because he couldn't figure out why Shanquella was naked. Some people just sleep nude. Some people said she got out of the shower. She did not. There's no evidence of that. There's none. So you said, do you believe she paid the most money? She did not. According to this report here, whichever direction it's at, Dejanay was the main guest. She was the one who paid. She was the one who secured the entire villa. And from her 6 friends, quote unquote, she collected money for the villa. The villa was in Dejanay's name, not Shanquella's. And this is according to this police report. So I want to make sure we get that clear, that this has nothing to do with, Shanquella had nothing to do with reserving this villa, nor did she have a large sum of money stolen from it, and nor did she put the deposit down for the full villa. That was Dejanay. Okay. Possibly. I didn't think about that. Hold on one second. This report tells us how many rooms was in there. Let me get to the top. Hold on, it's loading. Here it is. This person is an administrator. This is They are an administrator. They said once observed a cell phone video circulating on social media where the two guests who had registered in the villa appear were one of them dressed in pajamas and shorts. That was Dejanay, and the other one who was naked. The one who was hitting the other person is named Dejanay, whom I identified because I served her as the translator on the day of the event. Of the authorities were in the villa conducting the proceedings. In the video, it could be seen that the headboard is illuminating the sun rays. Due to the location of the sun rays, I can deduce this is from I can deduce that is between 7 and 8:30 in the morning. And since the bedrooms 1 and 3 are waterfront bedrooms, and it's easy to deduce the morning schedule since the sun rises on the seaside, illuminating the rooms. That is the room number 3. Oh, that was room 3. Because that is the only one that has a hammock outside. In that fight video, there was a hammock outside. And you can see that in the video. Also, after 10 a.m., the sun rays begin to reflect towards the floor of the bedroom. And since there is some pergolas, however you pronounce that, on the outside of the room, I can also say that in that villa, both at sunrise and sunset are very annoying. Got you. So that was room number 3. So whose room was that? That wasn't Dejanay's room. It couldn't have been her room unless she paid. The only way it could have been her room is if she put down more money for it. Now that's possible. We don't know how much Shanquella paid for that room. But it wasn't the main room. It was room number 3. We don't know that. We don't know that. Nobody confirmed that. She couldn't have put up more money than Dejanay because Dejanay reserved the whole villa. It's in this report. What we're not going to do is negate this report. This report is real. It's very much real, and it's been sent to the Biden administration. That Dejanay reserved the whole villa. This from Veronica. Veranda says, think outside the box, guys. That could be the reason that girl was fighting on her. It's so hard to say. It's a hard one. Yeah, they did. Everyone did. Here's the thing. I don't know if everyone paid. I don't know if everyone paid. It's so hard to tell because they played her, right? You fought her the next day. And according to the concierge, she didn't even feel welcomed at dinner the first night there. God only knows what happened at the airport. So we can surmise a lot of stuff. Did they make her pay more? You know? And then try to bully her out of the trip, you know? Like make her pay more for the trip or just make her pay a portion of the trip and then bully her out of the trip to go home early. Because I think in my head, not my opinion, but I think that they wanted her to go home early. They really just wanted her to help secure the villa. And then they just wanted her to leave, you know? Yeah, you're right, Mrs. Carter. But how much they collect is a really great question. If that wasn't Shanquella's room, room number 3, the question is, how did she get in there? Yeah. This from Callie says Shanquella could have gave up the most money. Just because it's under Dejanay's name doesn't mean that she paid the most of it. It was a group thing. Her name is on the paper. Yeah. But she definitely did not get room 1. We know that because of this report. This was room 3. But we don't know if it was Shanquella's room or someone else's room. Man, I wish. I know for a fact when they got to the villa, they were probably all posting on Snapchat and Instagram. I wish we could have seen who got which room, because usually that's what people do on vacation. Like, oh, look at my suite for the next 4 days. I wish we could figure out whose room this was. That's true. That's true. So let's just say, for example, right, let's play with this idea, Empress Noir, that they get to the villa. Shanquella pays the most because she wants the second biggest room, because she's not going to get the first biggest room. We know that. But she pays the most to get the second biggest room, right? So let's say she does that. And then she gets there and they're like, no, we're going to give this room to winner. And so she's got an attitude the whole time. I could see that. You understand what I mean? Because that would be insane. Right? Because something happened from the moment they got to the villa to dinner, according to the concierge. She said her attitude was off and she didn't even say hello to him. He said she looked like she didn't belong there and she would not engage in the festivities. So something happened between the time they touched down, which was around 3 p.m., to the time they were getting ready to go to dinner. I don't have a snippet of I do have it, but I can't play it here. It would literally violate copyright infringement, not copyright infringement, community guidelines here on YouTube. So I would encourage you to go look it up on Twitter, because Twitter is just like a wasteland. Anything and everything goes there, but not here. They wouldn't let me play it. You said if so, replay the video from the night before. It seems like Dejanay's clothes was in a different room because she was about to change. Yeah, but it was at night, so there's no way to see the sunlight. I need a goddamn floor plan. This from Helen B. What's up, Helen? Says what we really need is those phone records. Heck yeah. They did. I wonder if that was before or after dinner. Was it before dinner? Because what time of day was Shanquella talking about going skinny dipping? Remember? She walked around the house and she's like, how come y'all not naked yet? It's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. There's a lot going on with this story, but interesting. Noodle scratcher. This story is definitely a noodle scratcher. Sorry for missing your super chat. Thank you, Soothing Zen Sounds. Thank you, Steph, for covering the current events and bringing us together. You're very welcome. I'll do my best without attitude. I know I got an attitude, y'all. Just work with me, okay? I'm not perfect. I get frustrated really easily. I have a really short fuse. So, over the years I work on that, but child, my fuse is short. So I just want people to get in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's hard to do. I can't control people. You guys are adults, but I just be wanting people to like think like I think, because it helps me when you think like I think. Because I feel like we can get to the conclusion a lot faster. But when everyone just starts getting all emotional, I'm just like, I just can't deal with that. So no, I appreciate it. This is from Lexi Glow says, does the villa have surveillance cameras on the property? They probably do. And the Mexican government probably has them. This from Yo Cool says, wasn't the skinny dipping in the evening after the chef? Could have been. You're probably right. You're probably right. I want to get to this story. Shanquella's story will always, until it's solved, it will always, 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 like, until I hear from Dejanay and the rest, until I hear from them, I will never understand why they did what they did. Never. It's been like 6 months. They better have a good defense. There better be a good reason why you did what you did to that girl. And it better be good. It better be good. Because they're going to have to come out swinging with whatever excuse they got. Okay? I'm not going to give them a defense, but I got a good one I can think of. Okay? I got a really good defense I could think of for Dejanay, but you better have a good story to tell, because honey child, you not gonna be able to handle it's a crime of the century, you know. You said they sit around coming with a lie. Listen, the only defense Dejanay could actually have that could save her skin, right? If we get into the defense side of the story, the only defense Dejanay could ever have is her saying that she woke up and Shanquella was in her bed naked. That's it. That'd be her only defense. That would be her only defense. She'd have no other defense. That's the only one you're going to be able to try and finagle. The only thing you're going to be able to say is, I woke up and she was in my bed naked and she was trying to do something to me. So I lost it. I saw black. That's really her only defense. But is it true? No. Could it fly in a Catholic nation like Mexico? Probably. You understand what I mean? That defense could fly in a heavily Catholic nation like Mexico. You know, that'd be the only way to save herself. And she would need her friends to corroborate it immediately. It's still a weak defense. I don't know, y'all. We're not in America. It's a little different there. They're really conservative. They're really, 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 really conservative. And they're really Catholic. And they really don't deal with homosexuality like we do, right? There's not a whole lot of pride parades going on in small little towns in Mexico. So it might work. That's probably the best defense she's got. You know? Yeah, that's it. Because there's no other reason why you did it. So if you're gonna cry defense, you better study the region, study that area. When you get assigned your judge, you better study the judge. And you better figure out, is this judge a Protestant? You know, is he Roman Catholic? You better study that. And that's the only way you're gonna get yourself out of this, because any other defense is not gonna fly at all. This from Dame Girl says, but what about them asking her to fight back? She didn't really got to worry about that, because that's just banter in the background. That's like any fight, you know? If you were to get into a street fight and someone said, You know, someone said something in the back, like, girl, grab that stick, but you didn't, like, or you did, or you didn't. It doesn't matter. Those are just background noises. What is on trial is the fight, not the peanut gallery, right? Like, you know, so you said, was she in Villa Linda 32? The villa's online. Is it? Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Any pictures? Oh, this is the room. Is this the room? He said there was a hammock in it. Oh, they don't even let you reserve it. See, I tried to click on it. They don't let you reserve it. Maybe because of the case. I'm not entirely sure. But I saw a picture of it. It looked like it. He said there was a hammock. $1,300 a night? They stayed for 4 nights. You crazy. I mean, no shade. I'm sure it's lovely, but it's not all inclusive. Was it all inclusive? Like, did it include food? They paid $1,300 a night? They buck. Let me just do the math on that real quick. $5,200. Are you crazy? I mean, divided by 7. That's not bad. That's $742. That's actually not bad. Okay, no, that's not bad. For 7 people, that's not bad. So $742 a person for 4-night stay in Cabo San Lucas. It's actually pretty good. You know? What's up, Shauna? How you doing today? You said 5,200. Yeah. Well, it's not a bad price. But let's get into this story. We'll be sprinkling and talking about Shanquella throughout the week. But I want to get to this story about Rasheen Carter. And they did actually, hold on, let me clear this up. They actually sat down and talked with CNN. The family of Rasheem Carter, a black male found dead in Mississippi, alleges that he was murdered. And here's what we know. This is his mom, not Ben Crump. I thought that was his daddy. Child. Ben Crump gonna be everywhere. Child, Ben Crump going. He said there's 3 Crumps. Yeah, okay. I mean, I know he has a law firm, but I'm just being like, he's just everywhere, you know. Not Martin Luther Crump. Okay, yeah, Martin Luther Crump. Let's just get into the story. Okay, according to CNN, the family of the black man found dead in Mississippi last year is calling for a more thorough investigation into the disappearance of his death, alleging that he was murdered after he told his mom that he was being followed by a white truck. Quote unquote from Ben Crump says, what we have in Mississippi. What we have is a Mississippi lynching. A high-profile civil rights attorney and lawyer for Rasheem Carter's family said at a news conference on Monday, Crump told reporters an autopsy by the state medical examiner's office found Carter's body has been dismembered. The autopsy did not specify dismemberment, but noted that the remains contained about 24 bones, as well as some smaller fragments that were found across the acres. I wonder if it was wild animals. The autopsy also noted evidence that Carter's remains have been scavenged by animals. According to the copy obtained by CNN, the condition of Carter's remains meant that the medical examiner could not reasonably determine the cause of death. And the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation said in a statement, Crump on Monday called for U.S. Department of Justice to open a federal investigation into Carter's death, something Smith County's Sheriff Joel Houston, whose office is the lead investigation agency, told CNN he would welcome. The investigation, he said, remains ongoing, but authorities have so far not found evidence to corroborate the allegations that he was being followed. To this date, we do not have any evidence of foul play, but everything is on the table, Houston told CNN. Until we turn over every stone, it's still an open investigation. Here's what we know about Carter's death, the investigation so far. It says Carter, the father of a 7-year-old and a 7-year-old known around the community in Jefferson County for being an excellent cook, was reported missing in early October, according to the news release at the time of the city of Laurel, Mississippi, the police department. He was last seen October 2nd at a Super 8 motel. The release said his remains were found about a month later, per the Smith County Sheriff's, in a wooded area just south of Taylorville, a town around 20 miles west of Laurel in the state's southeastern quadrant. At the time, we have no reason to believe foul play was involved, but the case is still under investigation, the sheriff's office said in a Facebook post, which was later edited to stress the investigation is still ongoing. The state medical examiner's office could determine neither a cause or manner of death, according to the report detailing the findings. Those reports describe Carter's remains, which is said to be found over approximately 2 acres, as partial and incomplete, and said they were characterized by advanced decomposition. There was no readily available evidence of traumatic injury occurring at the time or around his death, the report said, but it is noted that several fractures is also noted as evidence as animal activity. Carter's family remains suspicious. It says, at Monday's news conference, his mother read a text message she received from her son October 1st, indicating he believed that there were people who wanted to kill him. At some point, Tiffany Carter said, my son told me there were 3 truckloads of white guys trying to kill him. She said she told him to go to the police, but alleged the authorities did not help him when he asked for their help. Crump also told reports that sometime after Carter went missing, but before his remains were found, someone used or attempted to use his credit card. It shouldn't have to be this difficult for a brokenhearted mother to get answers, said Crump, who was representing numerous Black families killed by the police and others, including George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. The investigators are saying in an interview that Sheriff Houston, it's so hard to say that, Sheriff Houston, told CNN that the claims that Carter was being followed have not been borne out of evidence. There have been some allegations that were made indicating that he was being chased by some other people, but there's no evidence indicating that he was being pursued by anyone. And of course, we've got to determine what took place. Now, here's the thing. Before we finish out this report, his mother said that he went to the police station and they kicked him out. They told him they couldn't help him and he had to leave. A police station, a safe place, a safe space for taxpayers. Like, how many more of these stories we gonna have to keep reading? You know, before it gets really dystopian. It's already dystopian. It is. It's already dystopian. But how many more of these stories are we going to have to keep reading where here's my thing about, here's my whole shtick on racism. That no one will ever give a valid reason as to why they're racist. For what reason did you not want to help a taxpayer? Because he's Black? Okay. What else? Did he physically assault you? Did he physically assault one of your family members? Did he scheme and scam you? Or is it just because he's Black? Get something else to dislike people about. I dislike people for a numerous amount of reasons. Their skin color, usually not on the list. Like it's getting really ridiculous. And then they wonder why Black people are out here buying land and building their own towns. And then getting gaslight by racist people like, huh, you're crazy. This city's not racist. Yeah, it is. So I don't want to live here. I will go build my own town on my own land and just mind my own Black business. But it's the gaslighting for me. That's the part that really gets me. That these towns be so inherently racist. And then when Black people leave, they want to gaslight you to come back. Sick. These people are sick. They want you to stay to pay the taxes, but they also would prefer if you left. It makes no sense. Then they gaslight you into returning. Like, don't leave. It's crazy. It's crazy. So where are they building? I saw a video. Actually, I saved it. I'll have to email it to you. This black new birthed town built these like beautiful condos. It was all Black development. I was like, where is this and when can I move in? It was beautiful. I'll have to find it and I'll have to send it to you because it was beautiful. I think I saw it on TikTok. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up if I can find it. Let's see if I can find the video. It was so beautiful. They built these condos and I don't know if I can find it. I'll have to search. It's going to take me a while, but I can find it. But it's beautiful. Beautiful condos, beautiful families, Black developers. They spent about $5 million. They built their own houses. They had a nice street, road, cul-de-sacs. I was like, oh, is it cheap? Because I would love to move there. I don't mind. I love living near Black people. I mean, I don't live near a whole lot now, but I just like being around Black people, so I don't have to explain stuff. You guys just know it, okay? It's just ingrained in you. This one, Carla says, I never shared this story, but OJ's trial, me and my husband got so many racist calls from people. My married last name is Goldman, and the guy that was killed was Goldman, and my husband is Rod Goldman. Crazy. So people are just calling you, randomly harassing you? That's also crazy because they thought he was Jewish. Wow, that's literally insane. This is from that girl. Chris says, did he live in that town? I live in a sundown town. When I was younger, it was terrible. No. So Rasheem was working in that town, and the story gets really bad, but I'm going to tell you guys. So he was working in that town, and he was staying at a motel in Taylorville or something like that with a Hispanic guy he was also working with. And the Hispanic guy got drunk or something and kicked him out of the hotel. So he was out. He didn't have anywhere to stay. So he called his mom and she was like, okay, well, your sister or something like that, your auntie will come get you tomorrow. Just go to the police station, and just let them know, can you get a ride to this other city? Now, here's my thing. I'm not going to sit here and shit on his family and whatnot. I'm not going to do that. This is in South Carolina, North Carolina, one of them. I'm not going to shit on his family. But here's my thing. If your sibling told you that they got kicked out of their motel room because their roommate was drunk while they were doing remote work, you should have just came and got him. And I'm not trying to sit here and judge the mom because she probably thinks about that every single day. Like, damn, I should have just went and got him instead of telling him just make it to the morning time. You understand what I mean? But at the end of the day, you got to make those split-second decisions. You have to make those split-second decisions because you can't just tell someone, thug it out till the sunrise. Sometimes you can't just thug it out to the sunrise. And Rasheen Carter's case is here. You can't just thug it out to the sunrise. You have to go and get these people. So, shame on his coworker who kicked him out of the motel because he got drunk and whatever. And, it was just all bad all around. And specifically because you were able to solidify a ride for him. You got a ride for him. Why they should have just came and got him. So I'm just like, I'm just appalled by the whole story. It's just like, or buy him a room, all of it was just it was just all, it was just all bad. Yeah, or Uber. Yeah, get him a goddamn Uber. You know what I mean? Like, but there's families like that that just, they just, they just don't got it. You know, they just don't got it. They don't got the money to do that. And that's sad that they didn't have the money to just get him a Uber, you know, or a hotel. And he had to thug it out, you know, thinking that, hey, if he just goes to the police station, maybe the police will give him a ride as closest to the next city over where we can come get him, or at least a ride, you know, back to Taylorville or whatever city he was supposed to be in. Um, but like, yeah, the whole story is just really tragic. It is. The whole story, to me, in my personal opinion, the whole story is just super duper tragic. It says that Carter's wallet was found in his jeans. It contains both his card and cash, including his credit card in question. His credit card records were subpoenaed, and the sheriff said it was determined that the last purchase was in the car was made in August, weeks before he vanished. The report of the card being used was either wrong, it said, or due to a lack of paperwork. As for the next, Houston, this is the sheriff's, said investigators are waiting to receive information back from the tech companies for additional evidence. We have a lot of it, but there's one or two that will be crucial to this investigation, adding he wanted to retrace Carter's last steps. Ultimately, Carter's family is seeking answers about the circumstances that led to his death. He was more than my son to me, Carter's mom said in a Monday news conference. He acted like my daddy. He acted like my best friend, my brother, my uncle. He was a man that wanted to do what he had to do to make differences in the lives of others. Every day gets a little harder, she said, knowing she must continue without her son. And I just ask that we get justice that we need for our son, she said, and ask that God continue to give me the strength to fight this battle, even though it's challenging. I can't give up. Now, here's my thing with this whole story. And here's my thing with this whole story that I just always find disheartening is that I mean, there's a lot about the story that I don't want his mom to get hung up on trying to find the villain in case one doesn't exist. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. Okay. I believe Rasheem Carter felt and knew he was being followed by someone that could have subsequently led to his death. But if some other extenuating circumstance comes out, if the case does end up going and getting investigated, and they're like, no, he just, you know, it was, I don't know if the nights were cold or something, or he slept outside at night and, you know, or what happened and he got attacked by a bunch of wild, you know, coyotes or whatever. I don't want her to be like, I didn't get justice. And I'm just like, I don't want that to be the case. I just want her to get a really good, thorough investigation and then is able to make peace with it. I know it's going to be hard to do, being that he was calling her all night and she just couldn't get to him. So that's probably the hard part that's really going to get to her, is like, I couldn't get to him. Like, I failed, you know, and I don't want her to get that. I don't want her to have that, you know, I don't want her to have that feeling that she failed him, but I hope that she's able to get a good, I hope that she's able to get a good conclusion into her son's story. So that's the sad part, you know, because you're just like, you don't want her to feel like she didn't get justice when she does. You know, that's how I was feeling about the Shanquella Robinson case, when everyone was just trying to find new villains. And I'm like, y'all are just misleading the family into believing that there's this wild conspiracy theory to lure Shanquella to the villa and take her for everything she's worth and kill her. You can't put tailspins on people's heads like that. You can only go with what you know, because when you start making these wild tailspins, you make the family feel like there's more villains out there than there needs to be. Does that make sense? So it's important to read the evidence as is and not get lost up in conspiracy theories. You know what I mean? They didn't say why. I think his sister made a Facebook post last year and said that, like, they just got into it. I think he said the roommate was drunk. or something, and he wanted the room to himself. But it was like one of those contract jobs where you're out of town, you got to split a room with the other the other construction worker, and he kicked him out or something like of that nature. You'll have to go back on Facebook. I'm going to post at the end of this video. We actually did an entire series on this story last year, and it has all the receipts and stuff. And I'm going to post it. It's going to come up on the screen after this video. So you'll have to watch the rest of this video, and then you'll click on it and you can watch it from October. So that way you'll be able to, because I have all the receipts from the sisters, the cousins came out. I got everything posted from Facebook. And then once I post it, I usually delete it because it's archived here. Yeah, you said, where was his wallet? In his pockets, you guys. He was eaten up by wild animals. So his clothes and his body parts, whatever was remaining, and bones was scattered in the field. So that's what it is. His wallet wasn't with another person. All of his clothes and everything was just within 2 acres, within a full field. Okay, because of wild animals. Wild animals do that. That's just what they do. Yeah. This is from YMV. Says Rasheem's Rasheem texted names to his mother and told her if something happened to me that it was those names. What names? What are the names? Yeah. So hopefully the mom is able to get some justice in the story. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be. But hopefully she gets some solace out of that. This from F. Sanders says torso was great. Torso's never recovered, you guys. The torso is where all of your organs are, and it's what animals eat on. That's just the fact of the matter. I'm not trying to sound cold, ice cold, but if you look at any National Geographic story or any story in regards to a wildebeest being eaten by wild lions, what's the first place they attack? Your torso. So they eat your torso first, and then the rest of your body parts come after, because your torso is the fattiest part of your body, which includes literally all the vitamins, nutrition, minerals, all that other stuff. So yeah. Hold on. Somebody sent me something. They said, oh, this is from Facebook. From Kobeck Royal says, I worked in Georgia plant in Taylorsville, and the guy who killed Rasheen Carter's 39-year-old Stephen Luke Clemens. It said, stop waiting for the police, y'all. Justice, that's the man. How do they know that's him? It says, this the man who is Stephen Clemens, is the boss man of Rasheen Clemens. There are some serious allegations pending against this man but where did that name just come from? I'm not going to post his name because I'm not a crazy person to post someone's name just wildly on my live stream. But where did that name come from? Is it because it's just his boss? That's not good enough, and that's dangerous. So thank you for sending it to me, but I'm not going to post that. There's no evidence to that. It's just his boss. I've had plenty of bosses. If I died, please don't tell people my ex-boss killed me. So what animals eat in the air? What? Are you okay? Your stomach is the softest part of your body next to your gluteus maximus, your ass. It's the first part any wild animal is going to eat because it's the softest part of your body. It's part of evolution. It's an indication that there's fat there that's digestible. Your liver, which includes tons of iron, in your kidneys. That is just what animals reach for. It's not a wild guess. It's science. It's just what animals do. That's just what they do. They just always go for the softest part of the flesh first, and they avoid the bones. They go to the bones after, but they always go for the softest part first. That's just, come on, y'all. I'm not a animal biologist, but it's just, you got to watch enough National Geographic to know that. Like, it's just evolution. Okay, it's just evolution. I promise you, when you order fish at a restaurant, you're not ordering the face or the fin. Okay, you're just not. You're probably ordering the softest parts of the fish, like the flesh and the roe, which would be caviar. But you're not like, okay, can I have a salmon, just the tail only? Just the hard, scaly tail. Give me the hardest part you got and serve it to me medium well. That's not what people do. People like, obviously give me the flesh and the skin because skin's good. Come on. Okay. Like, come on, you guys, get it together. Get it together. But yeah, so that guy that they're accusing of doing it, I don't know who that man is. I'll have to research into it. Because I don't know who he is. It just seems like his boss. That post had nothing else to it, so I'm gonna dig into it later because there might be something to it. I mean, hell, it might have something to do with it. It's doubtful because it was after work hours. How would you have found him? How would you found him later? You know? So yeah, so we'll have to get into it. So, but that's all that I have for you guys today. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern here at the Nosy Bystanders Live. I'm your host, Chief Nosy Bystander. You guys have a good night. Y'all, don't do nothing crazy, okay? Try to smash the like button on your way out. Don't be ignorant. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. So hopefully we got a decent story that's not dealing with murder and carnage. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna dig into who are those people who Rasheem's bosses that people are accusing of being his murderer, and and then we'll figure out the rest because there might be something to the story. But I'm not gonna post his name just out of his own identity and safety, right? But we'll be back tomorrow for St. Patty's Day. Thank you very much, Nisha, for the great heart. I'll see you guys later. Smash the like button on your way out. We'll see you then. Okay. Bye-bye.